What's up YouTube, Knight's Edge here again. Got another pretty cool review of a pretty amazing knife lent to me by Mr. Eddie. Shout out to Mr. Eddie. Go check him out on Instagram. You can also check out his YouTube page. It'll be linked down below. Thanks to people like him that I'm able to look at such awesome knives. Hit the like button if you like the content. Subscribe if you want more of it. All my Patreons, my channel members, man, you guys are awesome. And again, it's thanks to the community and people like Mr. Eddie that can check out such cool, awesome, amazing knives. And this is the Holt Morpheus. Just take a nice little close-up look at it there. The details of it, man. The finish. We're going to talk all about it, but this is definitely a great little knife. Let's go ahead and do specs on it. Alright, so from the tip of the blade to the end of the handle, you're looking right at about 7.5 inches. Blade length, if you go all the way up to past the tool where it meets with the handle there, you're looking right at 3 1/4. And cutting edge length on this, I'd say a little over 3 1/8, but a little, maybe 3 3/16 or so. Cutting edge on this, what I would call like a medium, extra medium size knife, maybe almost, you know, pretty close to a full size knife, but doesn't, you know, isn't over 8 inches, so can't call it a full size knife by my own definition, but it feels, you know, pretty full sizey to me. All right, so 137 thousandths, thickest part of the spine, and we'll gently touch it there. 25 thousandths, 26 thousandths behind the edge. Let's go ahead and do the handles too. We've got the calibers out here. 476 thousandths. All right. Kind of nervous about doing that on this one. This is quite an expensive knife. Spoiler alert on the price anyway, if anybody doesn't know. These Holt knives are a very, very small batch in-house made, USA made knives. They run around 875 bucks is the one that I'm looking at right here. You know, so go ahead and get that out of the way. This is quite an expensive knife. Go ahead and do size comparisons here. Cold steel knives 8010. This is your Demco knives 8020.5, the slicer version, so fairly close to the slicer 8020.5 there in size anyway. Ontario Knives Rat Model 1, and there's your Ontario Knives Rat Model 2. Pretty close to the Rat 2, although a little bit longer. Actually kind of right in between those two with size, with length. All right, next up, Spyderco Paramilitary 2. That one's actually anodized by Mr. Eddie. And Spyderco Knives Para 3. All right, so pretty close to the Para 3, although maybe a little bit longer overall than the Para 3. Cutting edge on this thing, however, is right there with the PM2, if not a little bit more. So definitely the blade to handle ratio good on this one for sure, to say the least. Let's go ahead and do one more or two more size comparisons, and these are a couple of other knives that people would consider grails. While I have them anyway, I wanted to do these size comparisons. Here is your machine wash Sonora. All right, another USA made, all in-house integral knife. And here's a Canadian knife, that being the Grimsmo Norseman. So vastly different than the Norseman. Also pretty different than the Herman Dragonfly, right? So, but comparable, very comparable anyway, to the Sonora, at least with size, right? Different ergonomic lines, different blade shape. This is an integral, but they're both USA made. They're both similar in size. All right, those up. Let's go ahead and we'll get the scale out here. 3.9 ounces. I was going to say about 3.5, but it feels a little lighter than it is, I guess. So 3.9 ounces is what we're going to go with on that. And I can get it out here. Get the old blue jeans out. Pocket check. I really love this clip. It's right up there with the Sonora in my book on the clip. I love the clip on the Sonora, and I like the clip on this one too. It's pretty awesome. Really nice milling. A lot of little extra details here, like that step down and the curve right there. Pretty cool. Put it in pocket. Not a deep carry, but you know, fairly deep carry. You don't have a lot sticking up there. It goes in and out of the pocket. Pretty smooth, pretty good. No issues at all there. Clip, of course, anodized, machined titanium, just like the back spacer, just like the hardware. Pretty cool, right? I think it is. All right, so got all that done. Got the size comparisons. Got the specs in general. Let's go ahead and do hardware check. Now I already got these, just the bits. I don't want to put the bits in a holder because I want to have absolute control when I put these in here. I don't want to scratch anything up on this. T8. All right, so all the body screws are T8. That's a hidden screw on the clip. Didn't mention that before. That's awesome. You've got this little kind of inset right there that goes into the liner lock. I don't know if you can see that or not. We're going to look at that here in just a second, a little closer, but that's also looks to be a T8 on that. All right, so T8 for everything except for the pivot. When you go to the pivot, this is a T15. I'll show you right there, T15, and we'll very lightly put that in there. Yep, T15 on the pivot, which is awesome. Cuts down on the stripping out of the hardware a lot. All right, so got all the specs out of the way. One other thing that I was talking about a second ago internally, that's that screw I was talking about. Looks like this is nested. This is like a bolstered liner lock, I guess you'd call it. It does come with a little tool, which let me go ahead and get that out now. It's a really small 0.35 hex wrench is the only tool needed to adjust the detent system counterclockwise. Clockwise rotation, stiffer flip. Clockwise is softer flip. Please do not remove the detent system from the knife. Altering placement may affect the action and lockup of your knife. All right, and you look in the little envelope. It's got a really tiny hex. All right, so whenever you look inside the knife itself, that's the screw we're talking about. Go ahead and put this back in the envelope because I don't want to lose it. All right, which, by the way, before I put it up without even showing the packaging, man, this is I mean, it comes in a zipper pouch, but this thing is pretty nice, man. It's really soft, felted, padded, you know, multiple pockets. You got your card, Holt BladeWorks right there, and of course the little note on the envelope that goes with that little wrench. So that all is some extra that you don't see, you know, in a lot of tiers. So I think that's pretty cool. Go ahead and put that up. So when you adjust that, if you look in there, you can adjust that screw. You gotta take it apart first, which I am definitely not gonna do. But pretty good size detent ball right there. And you got your little screw that hex wrench goes into to kind of loosen or tighten it, make it flip easier or stiffer, you know. Jimping on that's really nice too, by the way. The only branding anywhere on this is that M390, you know, for the steel type, which I think that's pretty cool. You know, I can suffice, you know, it just saying M390 right there. That's no issue at all. That's pretty neat. So The flip on this thing is awesome, which I guess we'll get to here in a second. That's my favorite thing about this knife, so I'm saving that for last. But ergonomically, man, this thing carries awesome. Really slim fit in the pocket. The contouring on it, you know, when you look at it, I mean, aesthetically it's awesome, but I mean, the contouring on this thing, everything is milled, crowned, chamfered, whatever words you want to use for really good quality going into it. All right, access to the lock bar. It has a huge cutout right there for lock bar access, which is awesome. Jimping on the top, you know, perfect. The ergonomics on it, to me, are awesome. Really, really good ergonomics on this thing. Normally, I don't like knives with a single deployment method, but I also normally don't like knives that you can't choke up because of the flipper tab. I usually consider that a negative, right? So if they put some thumb studs here, eliminated that, you'd have that flat that you could put your finger on. But to me, on this particular one, on the Morpheus, it's not an issue at all because my hands perfectly lock in. I wear a large size glove. I guess I have average size hands, you know, so I'm not really wanting to go anywhere. I'm pretty locked in right here. You know, that finger groove right there locks me in perfect, and that jimping right there is just perfect, man. You're locked in tight right there. No issues at all whatsoever. So that's pretty cool. The pivot, aesthetically, I think the pivot looks really cool. Not a single issue at all with aesthetics on here. Get a nice another close-up, that kind of 6-gun pattern or whatever you want to call it in the pivot. That's, you know, really neat to me. These are made in Idaho, I believe. I think they're made in Idaho. Yeah, which is pretty cool because Chris Reeves also made in Idaho. I could be wrong on that. It's either Idaho or Iowa. Not 100% sure on that, but might be Iowa. Let me know in the comments. Idaho or Iowa. One of them I states up in the northwest of me anyway. So all that being said, this is an awesome knife, man. This is a really good quality, high quality knife. Nice hollow grind on it. Really, really good finish on the blade. See that shine on the blade and that kind of tumbled looking finish, I guess. The action is the thing on this that I love. I love the action on this. You can sit here and flip this knife for days. Very easy to flip. Again, jimping right there. You could probably fail it. I think you can. Nah, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's I very lightly upward. I can't fail it. I cannot fail that, which is awesome. The action is really awesome on this thing. Whenever you push it, the lock bar in, when you go to close it, you clear the detent, and it does that every single time. Every time. Which is awesome. Most of the time, or almost every time, I think, other than with this knife that I've experienced, whenever you've got that loose, when it just falls shut like that, you're dealing with something that comes out whenever you shake it, right? Like a weak detent. Nothing. I mean, I'm as hard as I can, and it's not coming out. And it's crazy how super quick that goes in and it stays in. Pretty awesome work right there. Holt Knives is definitely recommendable company for, you know, 100% sure. I love also, by the way, I didn't mention aesthetically that back spacer, those grooves, cut out grooves on that back spacer. That's an awesome touch. Just the fact that it has a back spacer is great, but you know, all the machining, everything that goes into it, The bevels, you know, goes down, goes down, goes down. You know, everything about it coincides perfectly with the other part that it goes into. The centering on it is perfect. Dead nuts perfect, 100%. Highly recommend this knife if it's in your budget, which for me it's not. This is Mr. Eddie's knife. He buys outside of my budget 100%. Very nice knife. Like I said, these go for around 800. I'm looking at them on Holt's website anyway, 875 bucks. I'm sure you can find them on the secondary for cheaper than that. Secondary market has a lot of good stuff for a lot of good prices right now. But yeah, this is definitely a highly recommendable small batch USA made knife. I just can't get over the action on this thing. It's crazy. So anyway, that's about it, y'all. I appreciate everybody watching. That's my overview review of the Holt Morpheus. And thanks to Mr. Eddie for letting me borrow it. Hit the like button if you like the content. Subscribe down there if you want more of it. I'd really appreciate that. See you guys hopefully soon. And until next time, y'all stay sharp.